Yosef approaches the brothers, and the brothers see him coming, and they're finally ready to deal with him. They say, "L'chuv v'nargeu, let's come and kill him. V'nireh ma yu chalomotav." Right, we'll show that his dreams are all nonsense, and we'll put him to death, and we end this saga once and for all. Reuven, the Bechor, realizes it's his responsibility to save the day. Vayishma Reuven v'yitzilenu miyadam v'yomeh lo nakenu nafesh. Reuven realizes he has to save Yosef, and he tells him it's not a good idea to kill Yosef. And he comes up with a plan. He says, "Al tishvchu dam, let's not kill him. Hishlichu oto el abor hazeh asher b'midbar va'ayad al tishlichu bo." And the Torah testifies, "Leman hatzil oto miyadam lashivo el aviv." Reuven had a very simple plan. He told them, "Okay, let's just throw him into one of the pits around here." And ultimately, Reuven intended to come back to the pit, and he would extract him and bring him back to his father. And essentially, that's what happened later on. Even though the brothers eventually they agree to throw him into the pit, apparently Reuven was not part of that discussion, wasn't part of the sale. And later on, Reuven does come back to the pit. V'nei ein Yosef babo v'yikrad begadav. He comes back to the pit to really extract Yosef, and he realizes he's gone, and he comes into a crisis. So the question is exactly, we want to understand how exactly did Reuven plan to save Yosef by throwing him into the pit. The question arises because Rashi has a famous comment here. Habor reik ein bo mayim. They threw him into a pit which was empty of water. So Rashi says, Habor reik ein bo mayim aval. There was no water, but there was snakes and scorpions. It was a pit full of snakes and scorpions. And the Mefarshim ask on Rashi, one second, if you throw somebody into a pit full of snakes and scorpions, he's going to die. The Gemara in Yevamah says, even if you see somebody fall into a pit of snakes and scorpions, don't need to check. You're certain he's dead, and he can remarry based on the testimony of falling into the pit alone. So how did it help? How did it help to throw him into a pit full of snakes and scorpions in order to save him from his brother's hands? Either way, he's going to die. So for this very reason, the Radak rejects Rashi. He says, no, okay, so the boar was reik ein bo mayim. There was nothing in the boar. So we just throw him in the boar and leave him. So that was Reuven's plan. But according to Rashi, what can you say? So the Ramban says, the simple Parashat. They threw him into the pit, and they were unaware of the snakes and scorpions. The Torah tells us, the Medrash tells us it was full of snakes and scorpions. The brothers were unaware, and it must be that way because if they were aware of the snakes and scorpions, then when they came later on to extract him, and they realized he hadn't been affected by the snakes and scorpions, they realized what a tzaddik he was, that a nace had happened for him, and they would never have sold him on. Why? How could they not be aware of the snakes and scorpions? So here there's a beautiful comment of the Torah Tamima. Torah Tamima points out that this medrash, this drush that says habor reik ein bo mayim is said in the Gemara in Shabbos by Rabbi Tanchum, by Rav Tanchum, and in the previous line in the Gemara says a chiddush about Chanukah. The Gemara says the same Rav Tanchum in the very previous line of the Gemara says that a person should not put his Chanukiah above 20 amot high. Similar, he shouldn't have a sukkah above 20 amot high, and he shouldn't put his mavoi, his korah, at the entrance to an alleyway for Hilchot Eruvin above 20 amot high. Why? Because the person doesn't notice what's more than 20 amot away. Can't really see. So the Torah Tamima suggests the boar was 20 amot deep. He didn't notice they didn't notice what was on the bottom, and so they threw him into the pit in the assumption that he would live. Fine. So that's the one solution, that they simply were unaware. The Orach Chaim suggests another solution, which is really a fundamental principle in Machshava and about the very nature of man's abilities. The Orach Chaim writes, "Lefi she'adam ba'al bechira v'ratzon v'yachol laharog mi shelo nitchayev mita." A man has the ability to use his bechira chofshit, even to kill somebody who Hashem, in his designs and his plans, doesn't want dead. He doesn't deserve to die. Nevertheless, God gives us bechira to that extent that we can kill somebody. A man has that ability to kill somebody who doesn't deserve to die. So Orach Chaim says that's exactly what Reuven's plan. He said to them, look, if we kill him with our hands, we haven't proved anything. Because we have that ability. We hate him so much, we'll kill him, and it won't prove whether Yosef was innocent or guilty. Because we have bechira. But if you throw him into the pit of snakes and scorpions, if he's a tzaddik, so Hashem will save him. And if he's guilty, so he'll die. But he will only die based on, he will only die based on whether he's guilty or not. But if we kill him, we haven't proved anything. It's an incredible statement about the power of man's bechira. Many times we talk about terrible events in history and terrible things that people did. We ask, how could Hashem let it happen? The Or HaChaim is saying that Hashem lets man act with his bechira even against God's greatest desires here with the beginning of Klal Yisrael and formation of the 12 tribes, and yet Hashem would let Yosef die in order to allow the brothers to express their bechira. Not everyone accepts this chiddush of the Or HaChaim. The Ramban throughout Torah to Adam assumes it's not true, that a man does not have the ability to kill somebody if Hashem doesn't want them to die, and it becomes one of the most fundamental philosophical disagreements among the Rishonim and the Achronim. To what extent does man really have free will to go against God's desires? Shabbat Shalom.